Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
And welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. This is Matt Hickey, joined by host Mike. Jess actually has the night off, which is strange because I've submitted multiple requests to our HR, which I believe is Mike, for time off. And instead of doing that, he actually gives me more tasks to do. So, Mike, what's up with that?
Your emails go to my spam folder for some crazy reason. So I'm not really sorry, but I'm a little sorry.
Well, anyways, Jess, hope you're having a good night off. We're holding on the fort today. Starting off with some bad news. Unfortunately, it was announced on Saturday that Bob Lazier had passed away at the age of 81. Bob Lazier was the Rookie of the Year for the Indianapolis 500, I believe, in 1981. And he was instrumental in getting the Lazier Partners Racing up and running for the Buddy Lazier entry for multiple years during the 2010 decade. And obviously the father of Buddy Lazier and Jacques Lazier, who both had very good careers themselves. So just thinking of the Lazier family during this difficult time, hope everybody's doing well. And Bob was a fantastic driver and a fantastic person to see around the paddock, and he will be missed.
Yeah, the Lazier family is incredibly nice. Everybody's always been friendly when I have run into them around the track. So very, very sad news this weekend, and hope the family is hanging in there during these difficult times. So with that, we will jump right into the first bit of news, which came yesterday, I believe. So Monday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott gave the go-ahead for Texas Motor Speedway to host a race. Texas Motor Speedway president and owner Eddie Gossage said they're working hard on getting a concrete date set. Mark Miles also mentioned that they are discussing a doubleheader with NASCAR. So with that being said, and the kind of limited bit of information we have to go off of on this, Matt, thoughts? What do you think of a doubleheader at Texas and the idea as a whole?
I think from a TV and social media standpoint, I think it's actually a really good idea. You know, right now, people around America and around the world, we're thirsting for something to watch sports wise on TV. So much so that every soccer fan is like tuned into the Belarusian Premier League, basically, which nobody cared about 3 months ago, but now it's like one of the most popular leagues in the world just because they're actually playing still right now. So the idea of doing a doubleheader to me would generate a lot of hype and a lot of attention, and I think it could be beneficial more so for IndyCar. Obviously NASCAR has a bigger following at this moment, so getting some of the NASCAR fans to tune in IndyCar would be beneficial for our side of it. And just as a whole, it'd just be nice to see the racing again. Obviously, things have to happen slowly right now. That totally get it. It's just going to be nice to come to the day where we get to see racing on TV again.
Yeah, I agree. From a not looking at everything going on in the world right now view, doubleheader, if it gets an extra race in there and gets things moving, great. I do worry about a doubleheader and the number of people that would be at the racetrack whenever it happens, especially if it's early June. But I'm not against doubleheaders at all. I think Texas would be a really cool place to do it. But timing wise, I don't know. If they're saying June, like they're like the governor was kind of intending, that's a lot of people to put in one racetrack, even if you do it without fans and let's say nobody's allowed to pit stop, so it's just a sprint race for each series. I don't know. It's still a lot of people.
Yeah, and that could go off like on a tangent about kind of the political side of what's happening right now. It's just a tough situation that we're all in, and it's really tough to determine like when it's going to be okay. So it's just something that we're just going to have to keep our eyes on. And at this present moment, I don't know if having a doubleheader with fans there is the best idea. So that's kind of where I tried to focus my answer on the social media and TV side of it and how there'd be a lot of hype. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they decide based on the recommendations of the officials who have prior knowledge to everything and have been studying what's been happening around the world.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think you are 100% correct, and don't get used to me saying that. But yeah, if it happens, I definitely would be interested. Obviously, everything I said before stands, but we will move on to a quick fan question from Brian Burdick, which came in on Twitter at some point last week. Brian wants to know, do you think Roger Penske has a minimum amount of races that need to be run for the 2020 season?
First off, Brian, we got your question last week. That was totally my fault that we didn't get to it. So blame me. Don't blame Mike or Jess. That was totally me. But thank you for submitting your question. I don't believe we're going to have a set number of races that Roger wants to get to. If we look at the history of IndyCar, I believe other than the IRL season where there was 3 races while it transitioned from the split, I think the lowest number we've had is 9. So I don't know based on precedent if that has anything to do with it, but there's certain venues that are going to want to host, and there's certain venues based on policies, government, and whatnot that physically can't host. They've been saying in California that Los Angeles may not host anything for the rest of the year, so that would obviously impact maybe a Laguna Seca if it becomes a statewide thing. So it's tough to tell. I'm not sure they're going to have a set number. I think they're just going to try to fit in the races that they can fit in based on everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think precedent is kind of tough to look at. The IRL merger was definitely a unique situation with only 3 races. I would guess somewhere in the 8 to 10 range would probably be Rogers' hopeful ideal if this COVID-19 stretches to the summer or early fall. They can squeeze in 8 to 10 races somewhere, but that's a total guess. And Brian, thanks for the question and getting it in last week. We don't have to blame Matt. It's all positivity this week.
What?
I know it's weird.
Just wait till I get to my Xbox race last night. Moving on, we're going to recap you said you never agree with me. What kind of sauces at restaurants do you like? Was it Cane's sauce and
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A sauce?
I've agreed with you twice this week. Something must be wrong.
Yeah. There was a Twitter poll thing on pick 3 of these 9 sauces, and 7 of the sauces were trash. And there's Chick-fil-A sauce and Raising Cane sauce. And I said those were the only 2 that mattered, and Mike agreed with me. Just thought I'd get that out there because obviously something is wrong with Mike at the moment. But moving on, the IndyCar iRacing Challenge was at Twing Ring Motegi this weekend. I'm totally blanking on who finished 3rd, but I know Simon Pagenaud finished 1st and Scott Dixon finished 2nd, I believe.
Will Power finished 3rd. I think he still
Okay.
got the podium.
God, he's so good at it. It's crazy. He's just like an iRacing legend at this point. Another good race. Mike, what were your general thoughts about seeing the IndyCars at Motegi?
Well, it was definitely out of the what was this, the 4th race, probably the most complete race. There wasn't a crazy pile up before the start finish line, and there wasn't a whole lot of silliness outside of I'll ever ask you stuffing it down low and wrecking the Penske 1-2-3 finish. But nonetheless, it's just an iRace. It's just a game. So glad to see. It's definitely a learning experience for him. But all in all, it was a pretty enjoyable hour and 15 minutes or however long it was. I enjoyed sitting down to watch it.
Yeah, it's better that Askey's doing these things now instead of later on when it's actually happening in real life. So if I'm going to see a rookie make a mistake, now's the time. And then, yeah, it was super cool to see Robert Wickens get the pole. That was a heck of a lap by him and pretty incredible. So before we recap our predictions, I just want to give a shout out to the Road to Indy iRacing series, in which Eduardo Barrichello won his round, the round at the Road to Indy race. For those who don't know, that's the son of Rubens Barrichello, who is in F2000, I believe. So hopefully he makes it IndyCar one day, because that is going to be quite the get to get Rubens Barrichello's son. So good for him. Recap our predictions, and since I'm reading them, I get to declare the winner. I got last. I had Alex Pillow finish 22nd. No doubt about that. Went on a ledge, failed, but I still like Alex. Jess picked Connor Daly, who finished 11th, and Mike picked Sage Karam, who finished 7th. And so since Mike had the boring, generic, of course he went with the best driver in iRacing history answer, I'm going to go ahead and declare Jess the winner because she also went out on a ledge and picked the guy with the best Twitch stream, and he finished 11th, which is respectable since there was like 30 something cars. And that's basically like you picking Scott Dixon every week because I think you've picked Karam, 2 out of the 4 races.
Yes, twice.
Lame.
Listen, in my defense, not that I knew it when we recorded last week, but he did qualify last.
That's true, but you didn't know that at the time.
Right. I said that.
Lame.
I know. I listen, I understand your logic. I knew you were going to do this as well. That's why I'm less surprised this week than last week because I fully expected you to go this route.
You set the dangerous precedent by picking Jess's Wickens pick over my Rosenquist pick, even though Rosenquist won. You started this war.
Okay, fair enough. I will leave it at that.
So shout out to Jess for quote unquote winning, even though I have no authority to say so. Next up is Circuit of the Americas. Super cool, actually. Today, Tuesday, it was actually announced that Lando Norris has been invited to the grid for the race. Now, obviously, a lot can happen between now and Saturday, but since it's an internet-based racing series, we're hoping that we see Lando Norris come to the fold based on that. So, fingers crossed. Mike did something illegal, which was bother Jess on her day off, and got the prediction that Jess was going to pick Scott Dixon.
She when she texted me, she said, "And when you do predictions, I'm predicting Scott Dixon will do well. So don't throw me under the bus on this one, sir."
No, I think we're going to need to open investigation on that one. What's the number for 911?
I don't like you anymore.
Okay. Well, glad we got that out of the way. So Jess has picked Scott Dixon. Mike, I need to think about my answer. So do you want to go next?
Yes, I am going to go with the aforementioned Lando Norris. And I have some statistics to back it up. Big shout out to our buddy Tanner Watkins, who was able to pull the iRacing numbers here. In 1,301 road starts in iRacing, Lando has 550 wins, 820 top fives, 558 poles, an average finish of 7th, and he has led 7,448 laps. So, yes, this might be the lame or boring pick because he's really good at iRacing. But in my defense, he probably hasn't done too much IndyCar in iRacing.
Those statistics are readily available? That's like crazy.
If you have an iRacing account, they are. So, and I do not have one anymore. So I'm reached out to Tanner earlier today to get them for me when I was thinking about my predictions.
God, he's won like 50% of the races. That's insane. I guess it depends on was he racing like 2 people at a time, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped as who I'm going to pick. I think I'm going to go with Robert Wickens because he's actually been pretty impressive so far since he's come back. So shout out to Wickens. Hope you do well. Bring me a victory so I can taunt Mike. Make it like, a dominating victory so Mike can't take it away from me next week. That's my one wish. All right, so we're going to give a quick shout out to our eRacing that is going on right now. So the Xbox League just got the race that everybody wants to get out of the way done with, and that's Monaco. Shout out to my teammate now because we actually switched to the multiplayer car, which means we can customize our livery and our teams. And so Jake Neely is now my teammate at Apollo Racing, and he won. So that was his second win of the year. I was running second under the safety car, and unfortunately my Xbox froze and shut down. I was quite bitter, not going to lie. Was just minding my own business in second. I definitely didn't have anything for Neely. He was going to win that race unless he made a mistake, so don't want to make it seem like I was going to win or anything, but I was definitely on my way to second, and yeah, just a mechanical failure, we'll say.
Yeah, and on the PlayStation side, last week we had Baku. I had nothing for David Lighting. most of the first part of the race, started catching up in second, and then I decided to clobber the wall, had no front wing, and I thought, well, why don't I get real aggressive now that I have no front wing, and ended my race. So really mainly user error there. I did kind of get caught up with some of the AI traffic, but that's about 98% my fault this week. Quick shout out to the soon to start Gran Turismo League, which will start Sunday night. So you've still got time to join the league if you're listening to this on Friday or Saturday or Sunday morning. It'll be at 8 p.m. Sunday evenings. The schedule is on our Instagram and on our Twitter somewhere. The first race is at Spa this week. Shout out to Frenchie and to Joey Haynes for some schedule ideas. But Frenchie and I have done probably about 12 hours of testing in the last week or a week and a half to find a good schedule and good cars and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun testing with him and chatting nightly about racing and car setups and whatnot. So that'll be Sunday nights at 8 p.m. each and every week. Quick team pit lane shout outs this week. Shout outs go to Michelle, Mark Van Niekerk, and Colin Taylor. And also thank you to everybody who continues to listen week in and week out while you are sitting at home. Your support means a lot to us all right now. So with that, Matt, it's time for the facts game, since we probably need to come up with a better name than the facts game. But I'm going to give you 3 facts about a driver who has raced an IndyCar in the past 5 years, and you are going to guess who it is. So he made his debut with AJ Foyt. He grew up in Ohio, and he starred in an opera in Indianapolis in November of 2019.
Zach Veach.
You would be correct. He starred in Elixir of Love, a comic opera in November of 2019, says Wikipedia.
He also has a Ford Transit van that's called the Toastmaster 2500.
Yes.
For
And
those
he
who didn't know, it's actually a sick custom build they did on it for he and his girlfriend to drive around and hike and rock climb. So Zach, cool dude. If you don't know him,
Yeah, super cool. He also teamed up with the Jonas. This is just a random fact now. I saw this on when I was doing my research about a minute before we started recording. He also teamed up with the Jonas Brothers and Jordan Sparks to get people to stop texting while they were driving, and released an anti-texting app called Your Text back in 2010 when he was like 11 years old, probably.
yeah, I remember that. That was a big national campaign. So yeah, he's done a lot. Good man, good dude.
So with that, we will wrap this week up with our, well, normally 3 stars of the week. I guess this week it's 2 stars of the week because I did not bother Jess for one of these. So I'm going to start out here. I know this one, Matt is probably going to laugh a little bit at the subject here, but Sebastian Vettel said Formula One teams must look out for each other during the COVID-19 crisis to make sure every outfit is able to come through the pandemic and race on. I appreciate anybody right now who's like, we have to do some things for the betterment of the sport so all teams can survive, especially with our pals in Williams Racing seemingly really struggling right now. So I appreciate Sebastian kind of speaking up for the betterment of F1 because it's everything's a little scary right now. So props to Sebastian for the positivity.
Can I be negative really quick?
That's fine.
Okay. He allowed it. It comes on the back of his team, Ferrari, who are they're talking about cutting costs for next year and the capping how much a team can spend. I think their boss came out and said, "Well, can we tweak that to make it different by team?" Basically, so like he's just asking like, "Hey, can we spend more money than everybody else still?" And it's like are you like missing the point of this whole thing?
Yeah, I can't lie. There's been a lot of positivity in motorsports and automotive stuff that we've mentioned at the end of every show for the last handful of weeks. But this whole cost cap thing and Ferrari, whatever his name is, Mr. Ferrari coming out and talking, I know it's not Mr. Ferrari, but is really, you're just like, what? No, just please stop.
Yeah, but you're all right. Good on Vettel to kind of speak publicly and use his platform for good. So that's good for him. Even though I do have my differences with him, that's good on him for sure. Mine actually comes from a conversation I actually just had like a couple hours ago with Team Pit Lane member Christian Denevsky. This is a shout out to everybody in our esports leagues, specifically for me, just since I have the personal touch with the Xbox side of it. Just a shout out to all of our Xbox members in our PLP GP league. Been a tough couple of weeks for everybody. Christian, Colin, Jake, and I, we tossed around the idea of doing a league about 2 years ago, and we just never could find a time. You know, so much in the world going on with our lives, work wise, and social lives and whatnot. And, you know, during this time, obviously we have a lot of extra time on our hands. So we got together and did this league. And, you know, the first race we had 6 people. Last night in Monaco, we had 18. So we actually have one spot left. We had one absentee. So we only have one spot left. So the fact that this has come a long ways in just 6 weeks, and it gives us a good way to socialize with people and to get our competitive side out, because, you know, there's not a whole lot we can do right now outside of our homes. So just a quick shout out to everybody that's been joined our esports league. You know, it's been a lot of fun for us, and we hope to continue to have it grow. And once this is all over and the pandemic's over, to keep thriving and to keep it going, just because now that we've built it, it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going. So thanks to everybody who keeps racing with us. It's been a lot of fun, and we hope to keep on racing for weeks and weeks and months and maybe years.
Yeah, the leagues have been a lot of fun, even just to chat with the Xbox people, even though I don't have an Xbox. Shout out to Jake Neely for winning again. I hope he beats you again this week.
Yikes! It's at Montreal. I'm a little hopeful, but who knows?
Yeah, crazier things have happened, but go Jake. On that note, guys, thank you for listening. Stay safe this week. Enjoy the various iRacing events that are going on with IndyCar on Saturday, NASCAR on Sunday. I don't think there's an IMSA one this week. I think it's on hold till next week. So with that, guys, keep your lug nuts tight.